I'm drawing out a lot of lessons from here, bro. So what I draw out from here is that, by the way, Tuesday, Friday, you know why we upload on Tuesday and Friday? Because also you upload on Tuesday and Friday. So me and Pash, I still remember this conversation. We were sitting down and I told him कि भाई Tuesday, Friday को video release करेंगे. So he was like, dude, you're so particular about everything. Why did you pick Tuesday and Friday? मैं बोला कुछ नहीं bro, Ranveer is doing it on Tuesday and Friday. He must have thought something. So let's just do Tuesday and Friday. And bro, the same thing that you underwent, which is not missing an upload no matter what. That is exactly what even I went through. But during that time, Parsh was like, dude. So by the way, when we started growing very fast, I thought there is something wrong with the YouTube algorithm. Because nobody can grow so fast. Okay, bro, we were hitting 100,000 subscribers a month. Okay, and everybody is just calling me and asking me, dude, how are you doing it? I was like, dude, I don't know. So I had this, I don't know whether it's a trauma or that's just OCD. I somehow thought that because of my consistent upload of Tuesday and Friday, I'm getting growth.
You know, you are the last YouTuber that I know who I consider a YouTuber.
Okay.
I've not seen people from your generation grow the YouTube channel. There's that girl who does geography now. She's another one.
Okay.
Out of the content pieces that have reached me, YouTube being a YouTuber was so much more appreciated in 2016, 17. I think lots of people don't play this game now, but this is the one and only game for long-term content creation for me. You know, creating horizontal, long-form content. Can you grip that audience for that amount of time in today's day and age where attention spans are even lower?
And also to be at it for a very long time. Because bro, the point is whenever there was a Friday upload, so Friday uploads used to be extremely stressful because Tuesday ke baad you had only Tuesday ke baad you had Wednesday, Thursday, and then you had Friday. But after Friday you had Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You had 3 days during that time. So Thursday night, I still remember, there was a video that we put out on Airbnb, and I had just got my COVID shot, and I was like, somebody told me that within 2 hours you're going to get sick. So you just have 2 hours. Bro, after getting the shot, I immediately came back home. I said, let's start shooting. And in the middle of the shoot, I started to fall sick. And I could literally see my eyes going red because during that time I was shooting with a selfie camera from my OnePlus 7 phone on an Amazon basic tripod, जिसमें मैंने MC लगाया था because the tripod was not very functional. That is when I realized that shit, I'm falling sick, so I'm going to miss my upload tomorrow. Bro, I tried to sleep, couldn't sleep because it was stressing me out. After a certain point, I had to sleep. Woke up in the morning, 4 a.m., started the light, and there was no light during that time, so I got in a ring light, tried to shoot with it, again failed. 7 a.m., attempted again, failed. 10 a.m., attempted again. During that time, I was feeling good. Suddenly, the fever had just gone away. So then I started shooting. I was just sweating like crazy. Okay, so then I had to take a break because there was no AC in the house, and because of my light color shirt, my sweat was visible. So again, I had to take a break. Again, started shooting at 11 a.m. Finally, we finished shooting at 12, and the upload was supposed to happen at 9 p.m. So 12 to 9 at it. During that time, I had just taken up a Skillshare course on editing. So 9 hours, I was just completely focused and obsessed with just uploading that video at 9 p.m. 8:30, the video got uploaded. 9 p.m. premiere. After that premiere was done, I watched the entire premiere from 9 p.m. to 9:15. Bro, after 9:15, I just crashed. And during that time, my mom, my dad, everybody was like, dude, are you crazy? Like, what is this shit? Like, it is YouTube. It's not going away anywhere. Parsh was like, dude, you got to take it easy. This is not how you're going to build a sustainable career. This is not worth it. Like, no. Every Tuesday, every Friday, video to jayega hi. And now we are at a position where we don't focus on Tuesday and Friday, but still that banner is still there. Business case studies every Tuesday and Friday. And the reason why I do not focus on upload schedule right now is because now I'm like, dude, let's focus on quality more. Because more than the upload schedule, it is important that you give people more value. So it's okay if you take another day, but if you can give them a better experience with sound, or if you can add a few things extra, there's no hassle with that. So let's focus on the quality of the content. Bro, that obsession. And after you reach a certain point, when you look back at that phase where you were like grinding, bro, that is when you feel that gratification of where you've come and what you've become, right? And right now you're sitting at 7-8 million subscribers and you're putting out 300 pieces of content. But back then you were an artist. and from the heart you're an artist, right? And with all these insecurities, when you go on to build something, a lot of people don't understand there's a lot of blood and sweat, literally blood and sweat, that has gone into producing what we produce. And that is crazy, bro. Again, I draw so much inspiration from all
No,
of these
same,
things.
Same, bro. You're one of the people that I turn to learn from at this stage, because I feel like
Really?
in content creation, that learning phase never gets done, and you need other players to learn from.
Okay.
Again, football.
What do you learn, bro?
For example, when you increase the length of your videos, you're able to still retain the audience. So even if you want to talk extremely deep, extremely niche stuff, I think you were the first guy in India like to do it. So it kind of gives the other content creators that direction that, okay, this is also possible. Then just generally, I think you're way sharper at like business. Like if I want business advice for my own shit, you're one of the first guys I'll call. Plus, you're not in my ecosystem, which is a very important aspect, because no matter how wide-eyed you are, no matter how much perspective one has, people's ecosystems eventually become echo chambers when it comes to growth. So you have to turn to someone on the outside. I learned this from Captain Raghu Raman, who was your boss, I think, at one point. He told me to always get external perspective, and that's been a game changer. So you, Agastya Shah, another guy I really look up to. I think people are not ready for what Agastya Shah will do in the industry. And I say that because there's a certain DNA in some people where they just built for content creation in the long term. And in one word, I'd call that intensity. I think a certain level of intensity is needed in one's personality to go forward in this career and build business and build other revenue streams out of like content creation. Back to football, there's different formations in football. Okay. And when I was growing up, a lot of football teams would build their whole team around one player. So there used to be this guy called Ibrahimovic, who's, Zlatan right now. If Zlatan was in your team and you wanted to get the best out of the team, you build the whole team around him. Everyone has to either pass him the ball, or even the other players have to be selected based on Zlatan. I truly believe that content creation is a very Zlatan Ibrahimovic game. But that also means there's a lot of pressure on Zlatan. He has to deliver, he has to up the quality of himself, and he elevates the whole team. Here, we know it's a team sport, content creation. You will scale with people around you, but they will all turn to you for energy and intensity. So that shouldn't go down over time, which brings me back to that original thing we were talking about, physical fitness. Like a content creator has to be physically fit in the long term. Truly believe that.
You mentioned football, and here's where I could think of Michael Jordan and Last Dance. You've seen the documentary, right?
Yeah.
And in that documentary, once before Phil Jackson, everything was centered around Michael Jordan. And when Phil Jackson came in, he asked, what's the game plan? And everybody told him that Michael Jordan has to be given the ball so that he can go and score. Bro, that's when Phil Jackson told Michael Jordan, he said, until you think of yourself as the best player in the world, you will be the best player in the world, but we'll be the worst team in the world. To be able to think of yourself as the best player in the world should not come at the cost of undermining other people in the team. So you have a choice whether you want to build the best team in the world or you want to become the best player in the world. The beauty is, if you build the best team in the world, people will always turn to you to try and see if you are the best player in the world. And that's where you have the winning advantage. So that's when they got in Scotty, that's when they got in Dennis Rodman, and eventually they built a team which is now known as one of the greatest, if not the greatest team basketball has ever seen. And after that, Chicago Bulls never won the kind of championships they did, right? And Michael Jordan also, when he was, I think, 19 or 20, there's this famous interview whereby he said that, the only thing that I'm expecting to achieve by the time I retire is that we go on to become champions at least once. And then Michael Jordan's last dance wala jo speech hai, over there he says that, when Chicago Bulls drafted Michael Jordan, I said that by the time I leave, we will be champions. Today, we are 5-time champions, going for the 6th. Thank you so much. Bro, what a moment, right? And that is what I took back from that entire series, that if you consider yourself, and over here it's very easy to get carried away, right? Because you are there in front of the camera, everybody's appreciating you, oh Ranveer, you're doing such a good job, oh Ganesh, you're doing such a good job, but nobody really recognizes our Scottie Pippens and Dennis Rodman. Even today, who recognizes Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, right? But what is extremely important, and this is again something that I've learned from you, that is, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you need to have the right guys beside you. Like you had Viraj, you had Rajas, I have Parsh. And fundamentally what I was always focusing on is that, and I still remember this phone call with Parsh, I was like, dude, Ranveer has too many people. Like we just have each other. We need more core members. And that's where we got in Rahul. Again, nobody knows about Rahul, but he's the one who runs performance ads for us. And we are getting the best return on investment ever through our performance marketing through Rahul. And he's the one who actually tells us how should we market our course. And once we started to build this core team, just like a football team or a basketball team, we realized that I don't have to do a lot of work. I just have to focus on the core work. And when everything else is standing as a pillar in the organization, that is when the organization by itself functions with utmost efficiency as well as consistency. And more importantly, with efficiency and consistency, the quality doesn't drip. Because when it comes to something like content, it's very easy to get carried away and lower the content quality in the race of increasing volumes and in the race of becoming consistent. And now when I think back, 2 to 3 years later, I was thinking of myself as Michael Jordan. I thought I'm going to be the best content creator in the country. But now I say that I have to be the best organization in content creation so that we can build something at scale for a longer term without compromising on the happiness or the fitness of the individuals who are in this process. And more importantly, as we keep on growing, the growth of the quality of the content or the channel should not come because of the effort put in by me. It has to come in because of the efforts put in by the pillars in the organization. And that is how, by the way, bro, you mentioned 300 pieces of content a week, right? This is again something that I've taken so many inspirations from you, bro. I can just go on and on about it. 1.5 years back, a lot of these agencies told me, agency friends told me that, bro, why aren't you doing Instagram? I said, I just checked out Ranveer's Instagram and I saw that he's doing podcast and that is scaling up very well. So that's very less effort. But at the same time, you can at least focus on that 1 hour of content and then you can deliver high quality content at scale. So until we start our podcast, I'm not going to focus on Instagram at all. So I left it, bro. Okay, we were at 300K odd, we left it. Then we started our podcast and then I said, now let's start putting out content. This is 18 months later. Okay, 18 months later, when we started posting on Instagram, bro, with a single podcast, we started posting 7 shots, 7 reels. That also got turned into a LinkedIn post, 7 clips, along with the main piece of content. So 21 pieces of content per podcast, along with 2 high quality documentaries that are going out. So now all my social media channels are active and we went from 300K to 600K very easily. So again, coming back to that whole thing, that if you think of yourself as the center of everything, you can only go so far. But if you consider yourself as a part of something that's much bigger and you put, like you mentioned, systems and processes at the heart of it, you can grow much faster, much better, and with sustenance at its core, right? So, but my question is, bro, I in fact spoke to Anshuman and he told me something very interesting about your podcast strategy. Okay, he was a part of your podcasting cohort and he told me that, dude, Ranveer has an entire machinery. Like he is like bang on with his timing and content and strategy because they follow something called the machine gun strategy. Talk to me about the machine gun strategy.
Okay, wow. I thought that's a top secret.
Really?
No, it's not. I'm happy to share it, bro. I feel in our industry, you need to put out your learnings because it's too early in the Indian content ecosystem, and the guys who are like at the front should be telling the rest of the ecosystem what to do. If the ecosystem grows genuinely, everyone will grow.
True.
So anyway, I'll tell you what the machine gun strategy is. Short content is an art form, but it can be optimized to get views as well. The rules of short content change every 3 months. Okay, so this is the basis of it.
Every 3 months.
That's what I genuinely believe.
Okay.
I think in some phases longer short pieces work. Longer short pieces. In some phases short pieces work. In some phases people want to know certain things about certain topics. In some phases people want the short content to be highly edited. In some phases they don't want it to be edited. So the basis of the machine gun strategy is knowing where short content is at currently. Now I sit on the advantage of not just producing 4 podcasts a week, but having a library of 700.
Okay.
Okay. So machine gun strategy in short is If we feel that someone has given us a stellar podcast, we ensure that all our systems and processes are aligned to make the short content from that podcast explode on social media and reach everyone's algorithm.
Okay, how do you do that?
How do we edit out like all this?
Like, how do you make sure that it spreads out to an extent where it's everywhere on social media?
You just have to crack the short content. So you have to crack the views game.
Let's take an example and understand this. Have you done this for one particular podcast recently?
Yeah, all of them almost now. If there's a film star, see, on some level we know every good podcaster knows what to ask. I think the difference between a commercially successful podcaster and someone who just enjoys the art of podcasting is that the commercially successful guy knows how to play the numbers game, knows that at the end of the day the views matter because views will bring you money. So everything that we do, first and foremost, is centered around getting results. I learned this from MythPat. I remember a phase where we went into niche podcasting and he said, don't do this. You're a YouTuber, focus on the numbers. So I went away from the niche again because I don't think India was ready for niches at that point. And I think you're acing the niche game, by the way. India's ready for it now.
I was just about to say that, bro. I'm the antithesis to what this is.
This is back in 2019 or 2020. Again, India evolves and you need to know where they're at. So the machine gun strategy is great for this year. For all you know, next year may not work. Right now, so this is a demand and supply angle. The way Instagram usage has increased in our country as well as YouTube Shorts usage, there's a massive demand for short content from those platforms. The platforms want to be flooded with content. So we are just supplying the demand.
Got it. So if I were to summarize this, let's say there is one piece of content. What you do is you produce short form content in such a way that that particular platform gets what it requires. In case of YouTube, a YouTube short is curated far differently as compared to an Instagram reel.
Yeah. Instagram is more emotional, YouTube is more knowledge based.
Instagram is more emotional, YouTube is more knowledge based. This literally explains why we have never been able to grow on Instagram, bro.
You can,
It's always-
if you twist your niche to the emotions of it. So if I'm doing like a case study on Dhirubhai Ambani, talk about his family struggles. You know, he didn't have an easy passing away. So there's always true, inspirational, emotional business stories.
Got it. And this is something that I can actually sense from the timing of your content. And I remember February 19th, you did a podcast with Nitin Gadkari sir way back. But then you posted about Chhatrapati Shivaji on Shiv Jayanti, which is on 19th of February. Then when it comes to
Machine gun mentality.
yeah, and that's when then World Cup happened, and then you had content ready for the World Cup also. And after that, I still remember FIFA World Cup had happened, and you were there.
I'll give you another angle when I have fun with this. Okay, now I know I've built out the machinery. So the machine gun is built out. Okay, all I have to do is point it in the direction I want it fired.
Oh,
So every human who's ever watched my content knows what a massive Virat Kohli fan I am. And there was some slander on Virat Kohli in the last week. My immediate response is I call my guys and say, put out all our positive Virat Kohli content to counter the algorithm.
but how do you document all of this, bro? Because you're doing so many podcasts. Like, if an editor sits down at the table, he's supposed to get into a particular SSD, access that particular podcast, check where you've spoken about Virat, and then there are multiple angles.
Not difficult. Everything's documented. Again, systems and processes. Like, again, one layer deep, engineering college. Just teaches you to think in structure.
I'll actually send my team to understand the system and process, bro.
Bro,
That's
you
crazy.
are an engineering college grad. I believe Parsh is also.
Yeah, he's also.
I'm pretty sure you're already doing this. It's just how we're taught to think. Even our non-engineering grads are taught to think according to what engineering college teaches us. We take that for granted when we've graduated. But like, for example, even if I'm talking to you, if you ask me, give me 4 points about this, there's automatically a graph drawn in my head where there are 4 empty slots and I'll fill it out. Often when I'm talking to people who have not graduated from engineering college, they get lost in that question because maybe they're not constructing that graph of 4 slots in their head. Now translate that into the systems and processes of your organization. On some level, no matter how artsy, creative, funny, bakchod we get, we are very black and white in terms of, hey, at the end of the day, we're running a corporate organization. And we're here for the long term. We're here to make money. We're here to grow and we're here to be number one.
Interesting. So the heart of all of this, in fact, the foundation of all of this is good documentation in such a way that today, if a social media trend comes up, you know exactly what needs to be posted because of the documentation that has been done, and that's the foundation of your systems and processes. And then on top of that, when it's combined with good editing as well as the emotional angle, like you mentioned, Instagram is for emotions and YouTube is for knowledge. So if I were to picturize this and see how this is going to work with a case study, let's say tomorrow there is a lot of slander about, let's say, Hardik Pandya, and you've spoken about Hardik Pandya at multiple podcasts. The way this algorithm is going to function is that somebody identifies that this is what is the sentiment in the mind of the audience, but we need to push positive content about Hardik Pandya because that's what is.
Because I like Hardik Pandya.
Because you like Hardik Pandya, and also because it is absolutely necessary, bro. Because again, it's too toxic, so there is a dire need for positive content out there. So step number 1 is identify the sentiment of the audience. Hardik Pandya is negative, so you go positive. Then what you do is, when it comes to positive, all the emotional things go on Instagram, and that's where you use music over there, which is, I still remember, Manzar Naya is something that you've used multiple times.
That's the skill of my editors, especially someone called Akshat Tiwari. He's been with me since he was 17 years old when we used to work out of a garage. That first step, recognizing the sentiment of the audience, that's the actual difficult step.
Oh, okay.
Everything else is easy. Even the edits are easy at this point. And he's also an engineering grad. So he approaches editing and processes as an engineer.
Interesting.
Yeah. And our edit room is very, very high quality. It is not easy to survive in our edit room. There is a lot of tough feedback. It's not a toxic environment, but it's a very sports mentality oriented environment. We're not a family, we're a sports team. So people are held responsible for things. A certain level of pace is required, a certain level of intensity and quality is required. I truly believe, bro, we're video content creators at the end of the day. We're a restaurant style business where our food is videos. So the cooks have to be of a certain caliber.
But tell me something, what is the turnaround time after identifying the sentiment of the audience? What's the turnaround time of posting, like, let's say 7 pieces of content together?
1 hour, 2 hours.
What?
Yeah.
How the editors edit it in 1 hour, bro?
9 years of building systems and processes.
Wow. And how many editors work on a particular reel or a short? One person.
One, yeah. But one really good editor. So we created
Do you have like a template on which everything is built, or does this person start from scratch, bro?
Templates change every 3 months because short content changes.
And who decides on these templates?
We have regular discussion. I'm an editor at the end of the day. That's my biggest skill as a YouTuber. So Akki and me sit and we'll discuss about the editing switches, and I keep trying to talk to teenage editors because I feel like, the batch of teenagers keeps changing every year, right? Like you have a new set of 18-year-olds every year. So you can pick up a lot from talking to very young guys and girls. Female editors add a very different flair to editing in general. They care a lot more about aesthetics for sure than the male editors. So a combination of a male and female edit room is also it's a very potent thing that we've learned a little late, because traditionally the editors are mostly male. I think a lot of young girls are taking up editing now, and I think they add a very, very different energy to like the edits. You're going to war, bro. You need female warriors and male warriors there.
This is so interesting, bro. I never thought about Instagram and YouTube short so deeply. Like, the machine gun strategy is insane. Love it, bro. Lot of notes.
Am I making answers too long?
No, bro, this is perfect.
Okay.
I'm taking notes from this. Okay. So when I show it to my team, they're going to take inspiration from this. And I see, the way I do podcast is that if anybody watches our content should not be watch-worthy, it should be noteworthy. So if your notebook is filled with Think School notes, and bro, I'm not even kidding, there are people who post LinkedIn, there are people who put out LinkedIn posts saying that, these are my Think School notes, and they are 300 pages long, bhai. 300 pages long, and that's what gives me utmost satisfaction, that I'm able to give people something that they can take notes from. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching the Indian Business Podcast. If you find value in our work, please hit that subscribe button, because for you it might be a zero effort task, but for us that subscriber count is an important instrument to get great guests to our podcast and to make this podcast better for you. So if you find value, please subscribe.